genetic. The boulder sitting high up on the mountain. That's potential energy. Potential energy in motion is kinetic. Energy that's waiting is potential.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Energy Roast. My name is Cassie Lum, and this is Dr. Holloway of the Howard Energy Institute in Kentucky. We'll be the facilitators here tonight. Just to give a quick overview of the panel discussion, I actually got a question today in my email that was asking, what is the energy roast? Why is there a roast? Well, if any of you have heard of like Comedy Central's roasting, I think the most recent one was the roast of Charlie Sheen. They have a panel of comedians who talk about a specific celebrity. Well, we've changed it up a little bit. Thank you. So now, instead of a panel of comedians, we have a panel of professionals, and instead of a celebrity, we have just the topic of energy. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce each speaker individually, and then they're going to do a 5-minute presentation, and then we'll move on to the next speaker, and then we'll open up the panel for questions. So we'll probably just go in order.
Okay, Jeff, would you start us off?
Jeff Fugit joined Mason in the summer of 2010 as the House Smart Program Manager. He previously was a manager of affordable housing developer in Massachusetts. Jeff is excited to be back in Kentucky where he grew up. Jeff brings a decade of experience in the real estate and community development field where he has worked with both Hammers and spreadsheets along the way. A graduate of the University of Kentucky as well as MIT, Jeff is a builder by trade, planner by training, and geographer at heart. He will actually soon be the executive director of downtown development in Lexington. So, Jeff?
So, I'm going against my instinct and I'm going to go without slides. So, look at all the so Mason, where I work, Mason's what's called a community development financial institution. And basically, our business is small business. And we come at this from the idea of how do we grow an economy for Eastern Kentucky. And so as we look at that, one of the things that we basically take stock of what's the landscape look like, and not the physical, but actually the economic one. And there's a couple of trends that we think sort of point us in this direction. One is that there's increasing rates for electricity. So basically, the cost of producing power is going up, the cost of delivering power is going up, and the cost of the consumer is going up. In fact, Kentucky famously has low rates, however, we actually have high bills. What's interesting is that we are above the national average when it comes to the average residential energy bill. And so that tells us that there's trouble ahead, because once the rates get closer to the national average, then our bills are going to be even higher. Along the same time, we've got an aging infrastructure for delivering that energy, and so basically all this equals bad news, but it also equals an opportunity. And the opportunity is the delivery of energy efficiency as a business, and all that comes with that. So there's we think about pieces of energy efficiency. You've got someone who has to know what they're talking about. You have to know. So that's the energy advisor, the person who can walk into a house and come up with a horoscope. You need the expert in building science. You need the installers, the people who can do insulation, air sealing, HVAC improvements. And also there is the financing aspect, which is how do you move the money around that actually pays these people. And so there's actually a new line of business in place, potentially for the utilities, because as you may or may not know, most of the state is actually served, if you look at land-wise, most of the state is actually served not like big investor-owned utilities. They're actually served by rural electric cooperatives, which are member-owned. By member-owned, I mean as in the people who are buying the power also own the company. They're small. We have partners that have 11,000 meters. And compare that to KU, which I would be making a number, but it's many more than that. So they have a challenge ahead for them as well, which is it's hard to make budget when you've only got 11,000 meters and rates are going up. payment. So this is also a potential economic boom for the utility. So we've got many actors have an opportunity here. So the way we're trying to come at that is something called Housemark, which is generic minimums and on-bill program. And the idea is simple and powerful. Basically, the utility pays for the energy improvements on a home, and then is paid back by a fixed charge attached to the bill. So attached to the location, so that the person is able to basically pay over time for the energy they're saving out of the savings they incur. So it's basically cash neutral for the customer. And we're working on getting cash neutral with the utility, and that brings me to sort of the last point I want to make, which is that anytime you're dealing with trying to create value and to create new lines of business, policy matters. We're not naive, and so we do spend some time thinking about the policies that need to change, that need to be in place to allow for the development and the creation of a new energy efficiency economy in Kentucky. And there's lots of debates on what that policy is, but fundamentally it's about allowing utilities to find different ways to make money than just sending electrons down the line. So for that, I'll pass it along.
Okay. Thank you. Our next speaker is Greg Lujan. He's Associate Dean for Research at the University of Kentucky College of Design and an Associate Professor in the School of Architecture, where he teaches digital studio and seminars on design theory and computing. Prior to teaching in Kentucky, he worked for the New York City architecture firms Edward Larrabee Barnes, Peter Eisman, Charles Wathme, and a guest, and Gandel Sonis, after graduating from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and Princeton University. His professional research centers on the design, fabrication, and assemblage of flexible systems, which has produced a variety of award-winning art-to-part installation-based and residential-scale projects that have been exhibited worldwide, including the first LEED Silver certified house in Kentucky, entitled The Residence House, the University of Kentucky's 9th place entry to the 2009 Solar Decathlon in Washington, D.C., and the Net Zero Cottage prototype for Habitat for Humanity. Greg?
Thanks, Larry. All right, so thank you very much for inviting me here. My challenge to you is a very simple question: what next? And I'm going to start off with a very simple challenge for ourselves, is to say, well, what if? Very simple questions. What if we lived in a world that was based upon inspiration? What motivates us to search for solutions? What if the clicker worked? What if we lived in a world that was based upon ideas, and not only testing those ideas, but developing ideas? What if the clicker went backwards? Are you controlling? All right, so we're going to go pretty quickly today. But what if we came up with an implementation strategy that leads from projects to processes and starts to change lives? Are you touching it? Yeah. All right, we'll try to do this. Going backwards. Let's take control. Okay. I just want to start off with a very simple image here. As you can see from this image, I'm talking about products and processes. And a lot of the things that we're talking about today were actually invented back in here. Photovoltaics that can be integrated into our buildings were actually generated in the early 1940s and 50s. So this isn't really new. What I'm more concerned about is this kind of matrix of things that's happening right in here, where the products and processes that we're using today are still the same ones that we were using back many, many years ago. I want to look forward. And what are the ways to do that? By going forward, other slides. So I'm going to ask the question, what if Kentucky led the way to these new products and processes? Start off with a mantra that we use for the Solar Decathlon, Buy Kentucky for the World. What if we took on a stance in our designs that were modular, desirable, and high-performing? What if we based everything that we did on three main concepts about sustainability and design for impact? First is to live light, the second is to design what you give a damn, and third is to design for the triple top line. require change. Consider the scalability of your decisions. Solar Kaplan has. Design like a Gilligan, designed to make a difference. Not only in terms of people's designs, in terms of their habitation, but for me it's a call to action. And designed with a triple timeline. And the key part about this one is to develop opportunities to transform and to generate new products, new businesses, so that way we can actually take advantage of the opportunities that are lay ahead of us. And one of the simple strategies that we have for that is dealing with light, alignment, and balance. And for me, those are the three goals for sustainable design, where simplicity is literally the ultimate sophistication. I'm just going to run through three quick case studies and show you some images about how you, as students, are taking the lead of that. First one is the Residence House. It's the first LEED certified home in the state of Kentucky. It was based on a very simple idea of volumetric response to public space that is bridged by light. It's in a historic neighborhood in downtown Lexington, where the students designed and built everything. They went to the forest, chopped down the trees, made their own products, integrated into cabinetry, solid oak staircases that were made from scraps that were butcher block back together. This is a 4,400 square foot house that was designed and built by students that cost between $85 and $90 a month for gas, water, and electric total. It was the first LEED certified house in the state. Going directly into the next project that we worked on was the Solar Kaplan, which is now on exhibit at Farm Road, Nicholasville. 175 students across the university worked on this. Every aspect of the project was designed to be a research project. We came up with very simple strategies. We came in number 2 in the People's Choice Award. We had 135,000 people vote for our house, thanks to John Calipari, who's not with us tonight. The house was built to be modular, designable, energy efficient, and high performance. Every aspect of the building achieved this LEED Platinum status. Of course, one of the ways that we work, and it came back to campus, Dr. Todd asked a very simple question, where do you want to put this when it comes back? And I said, if I had my brothers, I'd put it outside your window so you can look at it every day. And luckily, we were able to do that in a short time. And it was a collaborative team made up of 6 different colleges and 16 different centers, including the Center for Applied Energy Research. But one of the key things that we have right now, we take a high-end model that the students build, and now how do you make that affordable? It's still the same ideas. And so these are just a sequence of images that involve 10 studios, 120 students, 6 faculty, and 1 visiting professor over the last 4 years. We like to make things. We make models, we do drawings. We like to envision what it would look like in a variety of landscapes, how it would actually be not only designed, but how it would be integrated and then applied and then start new generations. HPER is essentially energy efficient residences. And we're essentially putting boat builders back to work. This is a design that puts boat builders back to work, but also challenges the way that we envision our environments in the future. So we can just go through these pretty quickly. And these are just examples as we move through from kind of like single-family residence to multi-family residence. How the spaces are occupied. And these are all done by the students in the College of Design, working collaboratively with students in engineering. And you can see that every aspect of the project is there for consideration. Panelized design, modular design.